From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022, your stocks, your bonds, your crypto, and Wall Street struggling again this morning. We have the latest details across the front as the Dow Jones is down another consecutive day. It will end its 8th consecutive week down, and this is bad news for this administration, but good news for you and the Build Back Better Act. The great news over this broadcast, stay to the very end, is that a fourth stimulus check has now landed in every U.S. state. Yes, now fourth stimulus check has landed in every U.S. state, and in this recording, I'm going to show you how to get these incredible checks. They ain't $600, they're upwards of $80,000 by direct deposit and include some MSCs. Step 1, become a member. Step 2, get that newsletter Monday through Friday that shows you how to go right in and apply and get these big fourth stimulus checks. The latest details today is that the economic data released this morning and this week was a little bit more problematic than we initially thought. We started the week on the retail sales numbers, and we thought it was a relatively flat set of numbers. And then we had Walmart, and then Target, then Kohl's. And suddenly today we're learning that it's a little bit more complicated than anyone thought. New details today that signals why these inflationary pressures are far more complicated than anyone anticipated. Meantime, I'll have a reaction to that and the Build Back Better Act, which is getting negotiated with a potential vote in just a few days. It's breaking news. It's on Mornings. It's live from the shores of Santa Monica with the toast toasting and the butter and the coffee brewing. We'll be turning to SS300. We'll be turning to student loan debt forgiveness, then over to six stimulus. The latest details on oil and wheat and those recessionary pressures. Plus, we'll be looking at what Jay Powell's doing and not doing and what it means for your SS300. But step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member. And step 3, pounds Purple Hawks and get those fourth stimulus checks in every U.S. state featured in the membership newsletter. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, good morning. Hope you're having a beautiful week, and we have a beautiful weekend upon us. I have all the big news, and it starts right now on Mornings LALATE. And good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day for May 20th, 2022. From the shores of Santa Monica, live on air, good morning. And this is Mornings LA. A fourth stimulus check has landed in every U.S. state and stay to the very end because over this special 1-hour broadcast live on air, we're going to go over how to get those incredible checks, and they ain't some measly $600 check. No, they are upwards of $80,000. They include MSC checks, and I'm going to show you how to get those incredible checks in this recording. We're going to start, of course, with the Build Back Better Act that has negotiations back underway. With a vote in just days from now, they so represent. And the details on that Build Back Better Act supported by the poor economic news. And what did that economic news show us this week? A lot of confusion. We started the week with me predicting that we're going to have those Target, those Home Depot, Lowe's, corporate earnings coming out. And I said we got to really pay focus attention to those earnings when they come out. But it showed us how this week is a lot more complicated than anyone thought. In fact, minutes ago, we learned a little bit more about how complicated this economy is and how it's important to get every check that's on the table right now. What did we learn minutes ago? We learned minutes ago that when we look at the major big box retailers that you already see price escalation in the stores for milk and bread and gasoline, they could be potentially bringing those prices even higher. What's going on? Let me tell you the breaking news this morning. We started the week with the retail sales numbers released on May 17th and live on air, of course, on this channel. And we saw those retail sales numbers. We said, nothing surprising. Retail sales increased 0.9% for the month of April, impacted by inflation, what we expect. And then we knew that bars and restaurants were closed last year. So we expected them to have a really great number, and they did. They had incredible growth, and we didn't see really anything, out of the ordinary when we looked at these retail sales numbers. Bars and restaurants up 20% year to date, and then it started to happen. And then it started to happen. What happened first? Well, first we had Amazon 2 weeks ago saying there's something really wrong with this economy. It's impacting our bottom line. Then on May 17th, we had Walmart corporate earnings coming on in. And when Doug McMillon, the CEO, told us that there was unexpected, unusual environments in there, immediately we paused and wondered, why is it unexpected for Walmart that has every ability to afford the top financial analyst to predict what's going on with this economy? Walmart said that the products in the stores did not sell. Walmart said there were too many store merchants in the store, that they don't need that many merchants. Then came Target. Target caused an implosion of the stock market, the bond market, every industry impacted by the horrible numbers by Target. But why such a surprise? Target eclipsed all the worries and made them a lot more amplified. Why? Target basically said the consumer that is low income, the consumer that is on benefits, the consumer that feels inflationary pressures is not buying. Not buying. And when they went into the stores, they did not buy because they cannot afford these price points. Okay, so that was where we were then. Then we had Kohl's report corporate earnings yesterday. What's the breaking news today? Boy, folks, get ready for this one. The breaking news today is a series of analysts are now saying that the big box retailers who already had given you a little bit of price escalation in the stores for bread and milk and gasoline had not passed over the cost of higher costs to you to deliver the products, and we'll be starting to do that in the next 30 days. What? Yes. The big box retailers reportedly are now signaling that they had not passed over the higher costs of gasoline and shipping and truck drivers to you in the price of the products you're buying in the stores yet. And now they can't buffer and absorb those costs anymore, so they're going to do it. Could we see double-digit inflation in products? That is some of the worry, fringe worry, that's hitting the Wall Street markets today. That you may think you already seen price escalation. You haven't, because the big box retailers have not passed over the higher cost to you just yet. What would that mean with you? Well, let's go over what that means for Build Back Better Act first. The way that stimulus works is that the more money you have, the better you are at. And the worse the economy is, the more likelihood they do a Build Back Better Act. One thing I have to lead on right away, because I know it's out there, is you have these economic analysts out there on broadcast media who knew nothing about anything. And they say the consumer when going into lockdown in 2020 had a stimulus check to buffer the financial pains of COVID. Now, with inflationary pressures, they don't have a stimulus check to battle inflation. That's some of the quotes they're saying this morning. They don't know what they're talking about, obviously, because they don't watch this channel. But what they're referring to is that people who go to the mailbox in 2020 and saw a $600 or $1,200 measly check in that mailbox. That situation is not with us. The four stimulus checks in every U.S. state right now are not measly $600 checks. They are monster checks of $80,000. I'm going to show you how to get them later in this recording. And by becoming a member and going into the membership newsletter, you're going to go down and apply and get those incredible checks. But I understand what they're equating this to, that millions of Americans don't have that check in the mailbox from 2020 of $600. Well, thankfully, the viewership of this channel, you have these big checks that are in every U.S. state, and I'm going to show you how to get them later in this recording. So let's go back into what this means for Build Back Better Act. You can't afford gasoline. That's why you need it. You can't afford bread. You can't afford milk. You can't afford the consumer goods, and it may get worse very quickly. The other thing that we learned from this economic data today is, and this is where it gets very complicated. It gets very, very complicated. We always thought that when we were looking at those retail sales numbers early this week, and before we heard Target, we thought they couldn't get the products in the store because of supply chain disruption. And because they couldn't get the products in the store, they couldn't sell anything. We always thought that's what the supply chain disruption was for retail sales. Oh, no. No. We learned today it's hideously complicated. Retail is one of the easiest industries to look at and understand as a viewer. It's very simple. You go in and you buy something, and then they report their earnings. It's pretty simple, isn't it? It's not like tech stocks. Well, today we're learning it's hideously complicated. Why? This is what we're learning from those corporations in more guidance today. That basically what happened was, one, the companies bought the product to put into the stores, and it didn't arrive on time because of supply chain disruption. And by the time it arrived, you didn't want it because it was out of season. It was it was summer because now we're winter, or it was out of fashion, or it was out of style. It was no longer desired. So they bought the products. They used the grills as an example. They bought the grills for a certain season. That season didn't happen, and suddenly have all these grills sitting around, and they're losing their shirts. And now what's happening, and we learned this from Ross Department Stores, which I think we reported on Thursday. The product in the store is just sitting there and not selling. So they're having to slice the product's prices dramatically. Ross, dress for less. Now you can really dress for a lot less. You can go in there and go to the sales rack. They have lobster shorts on sale. Yeah, they're discounted. No one bought them. Not even the Kentucky stores. No one bought them. The dress for less is very less because apparently they're having to slice the prices. Now that's the first part of the equation. The second part of the equation is that the companies that the big box retailers have that have food and have gasoline and have clothing are now reportedly going to raise the prices even more than they've already risen them. And imagine, is this analysis going to be correct, that there could potentially be 11 or 10% inflation in certain products in the stores in 30 to 60 days from now? I don't know if this analysis that's coming in from some financial gurus is correct or not correct. But I got to tell you that we already heard from the Bank of England last week, as reported on this channel, that they are raising interest rates in the Bank of England because they say in Great Britain, the inflation by December is going to be 10%. Okay, so something wrong here. Something's very wrong, and you're getting the sense of it very quickly. Jay Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, says that he's getting inflation down from wherever it is right now to 2% by December. I say it's not going to happen. I say inflation is going to track at 4% by December. Then today we're having some analysts saying maybe inflation will track at double digits in the next 60 days. Then we have the Bank of England saying 10% in their country, which is not much different than our country, by December. There's a lot of scary numbers out there. Anything more than 8% inflation is very scary. This is why you have to get a forced stimulus check that is in every U.S. state right today. And later in this recording, I'm going to go over those forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state. You can't sit back and say, let's just hope it's 4% inflation later this year. If it's anything like these scary numbers we're hearing today, you need to get those checks right today. One of the things I've never made clear before until today is that the forced stimulus check in every U.S. state is cash. You put it in the bank, it remains cash. It stays cash. The best way to survive inflation is cash. When you put the forced stimulus check in the bank or in your wallet, it remains cash. It ain't going to devalue. It's not a stock. It's not going to go down in value. It's not real estate. It's not crypto. It's not a bond. It's not going to go down in value. It's cash. And that's not why you need to get that forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Moreover, this is massive sums of money. These are upwards of $80,000 of forced stimulus checks. So this, again, is something new, which I never said before on Mornings LA, is that in 2020, when Congress talked about a $600 stimulus check, social media was on fire. $600, what is that going to pay for? Well, guess what? You don't want to wait around for Build Back Better Act to maybe, I'm just saying maybe, I'm not saying it's happening, I'm just saying maybe, say, we're going to give you another $600 check. You know what $600 is worth in an inflationary environment of 8%? It ain't worth anything. When inflation is 8%, $600 ain't worth anything. That is why you need to get the forced stimulus checks that are coming up later in this recording right now, because these are monster checks upwards of $80,000. And if these inflationary pressures that are being described today are so correct, then millions of Americans are going to be looking in 60 days from now on this channel for what you already know today in May 2022, that a forced stimulus check is in every U.S. state. Millions of Americans are going to be hurting really badly 60 days, 90 days out. That's why you need to grab the cash right now before it runs out of those funds. Let's go over to Build Back Better Act and the dynamics that's at issue today. New cast of characters. Yeah, the negotiations are back underway, and I said they were. I said the negotiations would resume. I said they'd try to get it done, and I said they say they're trying to get it done by Memorial Day weekend vote. The only thing I had wrong in there was the cast of characters. Did they bring back an old Real Housewife? No, they did not bring her back. Who are the cast of characters? Is it Joe? No. Is it Liz? No. Is it Bernie? No. It is two people and only two people. It sort of feels like 2020. Doesn't it feel like that? Remember Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi? They headlined a show on this channel that was always at about 6 o'clock at night. And it was Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi. It was like a romantic comedy, just not romantic and not funny. Well, this time around, it's Joe Manchin and Chuck Schumer. Joe and Chuck, Chuck and Joe, Joe Chuck, Chuck Joe. It's just not catchy. It's just not working. And they have had different names for these two cast members. It would have been so much easier on me. Joe and Chuck is just really not a catchy title for a new show. But those are the two casts of characters. Yeah, we did have What the Chuck on this channel. We did not have What the Joe, because that's not really catchy either. So Joe and Chuck are negotiating. It's Joe Biden. It's not Joe Biden. It is Joe Manchin. And Chuck Schumer are negotiating your forced stimulus, Build Back a Better Act. Let me tell you the great news in this show that has no title for it. The great news is that they agree. They really agree on a lot. These Chuck Schumer and Joe Manchin are two guys that have known each other a long time. They've worked alongside each other a long time. They like each other a lot. They have a deep respect for one another. They get along with one another. So everything in this two-person negotiations is perfect. Moreover, they publicly said the following great comments, great news. Number one, they want to get it done. Both Joe Manchin and Chuck Schumer, they want to get it done. Build Back Better Act. They wanted law for you. Number two, they want it done before the midterm elections. They want to be the only two voices in the negotiations, and they are. And they want to get it to you to buffer the financial burdens of this economy. Everything about it is perfect, with the last remaining question: what's the it? What is going to survive in the Build Back Better Act? Will it be those 3 clusters and 3 add-ons? Will they be different or dramatic? Remember, as I said just seconds ago, Bernie will not be part of the negotiations, nor Liz Warren, nor Joe Biden, nor Nancy Pelosi, nor the prom creators. None of these people will be part of the negotiations. I featured the prom creators yesterday on evenings. It'll just be 2 people. I love it. This ain't Nancy and Steve Mnuchin from 2020 with polar opposite opinions of situations. These are 2 people who agree upon a lot of things. They are Joe Manchin and Chuck Schumer. So what is my prediction on this situation? Number one, I want you to be prepared. I'm going to say it that way. I want you to be prepared that they get it done very quickly, and it does not resemble Build Back Better Act 2021. You have to be prepared for that. Why? Because we've seen that with CR for stimulus in 2020, for example. We had the second stimulus negotiations for months, and Nancy was fighting for that FPC and new EIDL grants, another round of PPP, and some big money and big checks for you. And they didn't get it done. And they had to ultimately get a CR for stimulus and put some money in the CR. When we look at this Build Back Better Act a year later with 2 people negotiating, of which it's not Bernie, it may be different. So what I want you to do is prepare yourself that it is actually different. The way you prepare yourself financially is getting those big 4th stimulus checks that are in every U.S. state. And I'm going to go over how to get for those checks in just a second. It's coming up after the commercials break. Stay with me. We got a big broadcast today. That's the first thing. The second thing is the vote. Can we bring someone on set? Where is she? Calendar calling. Can you come on in? Calendar, how good to see you again. Calendar calling. What day do they vote? They say they're going to get this vote done by Memorial Day weekend. Now, let me make this very clear. Congress says they're going to get the vote done by Memorial Day weekend. So don't come to me on, on June 1st saying, you said I'm getting a stimulus check on June 1st. I did not say that. I did not say that. I am reporting that Congress thinks that they can get the vote done on the Build Back Better Act by Memorial Day weekend, which of course is just a few blinks of an eye away. Do I think they can get it done? Well, let me go over what they have to do to get that done by such a short notice. They have to finish the negotiations between Chuck and Joe. Then they have to send it over to the Senate probably to vote first. Don't know if it'll pass. Then they got to send it over to the House. Then they got to, and if there has any House changes, it has to come back to the Senate. All within a matter of a few days, they can get it done. I've seen things done quicker across the board. I like that it's Joe and Chuck. I'll tell you why. Because Joe Biden has Joe Manchin has a long-standing situation that he really tells you bluntly what he likes and what he doesn't like. I hate that shirt with the white collar and the blue shirt, LALATE. Stop wearing it. He will tell you what he doesn't like. Kristen Sinema, on the other hand, just gives you deers in headlight. Kristen Sinema, what do you think about cheaper prescription medication? She just doesn't tell you, and you don't get anywhere with talking to her. So I like that the cast of characters is these two people. Now, let's go over to the evolving situation with this guy. His name is Jay Powell, and his job is to reduce inflation, and he ain't going to get it down. And in the second half of this video, I have a big to go over with this guy. But let me tell you, Joe Biden, make that swap from coal to inflation. Hashtag Joe Make the Call. Take this video, share it on social media, tag the president at joebiden.com and at POTUS.com, and tell him to swap that COLA for inflation. Why? Because it will give you $200 more per month right today. It's situations like this that I sometimes want to bite my tongue, because I really, what I want to say to Joe Biden of what I would say in the streets. The American that is hurting the most in this inflationary environment is low-income individuals, households that don't make a lot of money, and households that involve individuals on benefits like Social Security, Veterans Benefits, SSI, and SSDI. This is a no-brainer. Calling up the Social Security Administration head is not a congressional bill, does not involve a Republican, does not involve a Democrat. Making a call and saying, swap that COLA for inflation. Where is inflation right now? It's likely higher than 8% if the analyst report is correct, and it may even go higher. Joe, why would you wait for inflation to go down? If you made that swap today, you'd lock in $200 more per month, not just this month, not just this year, for millions of beneficiaries and people who are on low income who are struggling to afford the cost of living that is growing faster than the price that's growing faster than the salary increase in the United States, which is about 2% right now. Joe, make the call. Hashtag Joe, make the call. Hashtag Purple Power. Hashtag L8. Swap that COLA for inflation. That would get that $200 more per month. And then if inflation stays at 4% later this year, that would be another $100 more per month. Now, if inflation is more than 4% later this year, you get a lot more money than that. But I'm just betting at that number. That is what Joe needs to do. In the second half, we're going to go over more about what Jay Powell is and isn't doing, that supply chain disruption, that student loan debt forgiveness, that 6 stimulus. But of course, in the second half of this video, we're going to be going over those big forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Get ready. It's your turn to get some big checks. I'm excited for the viewers who have gotten it. And if you got one, I'm ready for you to get more. If you've not gotten one, I'm ready for you to get some starting today. Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member. Step 3, get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. And in the second half of this video, we're going to go over those forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, we're just getting started. Coming up after the commercial break are those big checks. But first, here's a little bit about the members community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another.
Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues now in the second half as the fourth stimulus check has come now in every U.S. state, and viewers have been getting it since the month of March. I'll be going over that big fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state, and the details are huge. First, become a member, then get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then get that big check. We're going to go over that big check starting right now. It brings us back to the earliest days of late 2020. In late 2020, the negotiations were underway between Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin, and they were not getting that second stimulus done. And these Americans who were watching this channel needed money, and that's why I stepped up and I found you money. A decent amount of it at the time, $250,000. Help people pay their rent and survive during the thick of the pandemic. Then, what happened thereafter was when third stimulus became law, I helped viewers continue to get round after round throughout the 2021 for those checks. Now that we're in 2022, in March of this year, I realized, you know what, they're not getting this Build Back Better Act done. Let me find you some more checks. That's what this channel is number one for. Nowhere in the United States are you going to find a place that's gotten people money every month, every day since the start of the pandemic, and even now. The only difference is that the fourth stimulus checks that are now in every U.S. state are astronomical, bigger than ever found. Let me go to what happened in March of this year. In March of this year, I looked high and low to find the four stimulus checks in every U.S. state, and I found them. They had come by executive order by Joseph Biden. 1, 2, 3. I found them one after another. First, a Check A, which I label as Check A on this channel, was announced by Joe Biden on March 4th. Then Check B, days later on March 31st. Then Check C came as a result of the viewership of this channel pushing. And then Check D manifests itself by late March, early April. As soon as they became obvious, I immediately featured the membership newsletter, and viewers started getting them $60,000, $80,000 of checks. They're still in every U.S. state, and now we're going to go over the details of how to get these four stimulus checks in every U.S. state, starting right now with Check A. Check A is a four stimulus check in every U.S. state, and it's a lot of money. It's $6,500 to $12,000. It's a four stimulus check in every U.S. state, and for all these checks I'm about to go over, they have the same income qualification. Single individual, $75,000 or less, you can get it. Married couple, $150,000 or less annual income. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, veterans benefits, or Social Security. How do you get that Check A? First, you subscribe. Step 2, become a member. The link is at the top of the chat in the pinned comment. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Go into the membership newsletter, go down to Check A. It's so simple. When you get to Check A in the membership newsletter, you see the information about it, and then you see a link. Yes, a website. You click the link and you go right in. Put your name and address and information, and you get paid $6,500 to $12,000. A fourth stimulus check of Check A is in every U.S. state. But you're not going to stop there. You're going to go right down further in the membership newsletter and go get Check B as well. Check B is a fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state. And boy, oh boy, look at that money. $15,000 to $80,000. I don't mess around on this channel. I don't get measly $600 checks that you look at your mailbox for. I get monster checks like this one. This is a fourth stimulus check, and the income qualification is the same. Third single individual, $75,000 or less. Married couple, $150,000 or less. How do you get Check B? You go right into that. You first subscribe. Step 2, become a member. Go down in that membership newsletter and go right to Check B. At Check B, you're going to see a little bit more description about it, and then you're going to have a different web link, different website to go in and click and put your name in and you apply. And there you go. Congratulations, incredible viewers who got that check as well. We're not done there yet. A fourth stimulus check is in every U.S. state, and that is checks C. Yes, plural. Check C are lots of checks in this C category. They are from renters and homeowners. They are rent, utilities, all your utility bills, water, gas, heating. You're going to push to get all those paid for. And then mortgage assistance more. It's an MSC. It's $2,000 a month over 12 months on average for viewers of the channel. But many viewers getting upwards of $45,000. It's something we've done on this channel for a long time, over 2 years. No one knows better how to get this money than you and I. We've been doing this since the late days of 2020. Then it became third stimulus. This check C is basically the residue, the leftover of third stimulus that viewers have gotten monster numbers on this channel since the very first days of late 2020. When third stimulus became a law, then they pounced and they got more sums of money across the board. Again, how do you get that incredible check C? The same way as B and A, just a little bit different. Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, go right into the membership newsletter. And then when you go down to check C, it's going to tell you where to call, what to say, and how to get that money. It's all right there in the membership newsletter. Go right down to learn about where to call and what to say. Yes, in the case of Check C, you are not applying online unless they give you a website. You're making the phone call. And you're not making one call, you're making lots of calls. And there you go. A fourth stimulus check is in every U.S. state. A check A, a check B, a check C. It starts by subscribing and then becoming a member, then in getting that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. It's days like this that we certainly know what's on the horizon 60 days from now. For 60 days from now, there's going to be a lot of people like Gregory, who's in the live chat right now, coming into the chat then and saying comments that are so incorrect and so wrong that they are really going to be financially struggling. Let me read you what Gregory wrote during the commercial break. This is what Gregory wrote. July 2021, you get a check, never got it. August 2021, you get a check, never got it. November, December, January, February, March, April, never got it. Guess what? There's still no check. Guess what? There has been a check. Every single month that Gregory said there was no check, there has been a check every single month in those months that he lists. This is where information is king and disinformation is the opposite, homelessness. What happens with an individual who doesn't listen is they are going to leave themselves on the bad side of the financial coin. In 2021, you got left used to an environment in which things just sort of land in a mailbox and you just stand by the mailbox. But that was never how stimulus worked in the United States government. In 2020, you had to do something for that EIDL, that PUA, that FPUC, that PPP. You had to do something to get $20,000, $150,000. You had to do something. If you wanted to stand by the mailbox to get a measly $600, you could hope and wait and wait and wait, and maybe it shows up. Then, when third stimulus became a law, I had countless videos and hundreds of thousands of viewers daily where I said, you're not going to wait for that measly third stimulus check of whatever it was. What was it? $600, $800? You're going to get the big money on the third stimulus. And viewers listened and learned. They got third stimulus in rounds where I showed viewers how to get in spring 2021. The average viewer of this channel getting $45,000 in spring 2021 and then doing another round that summer. Then another round that fall. Viewers kept on going back and getting money. Here's Mark. He had 30,000, then he went to 50,000, then it went to 100,000, then went to 166. Mark getting check B just days ago. Here's Lorraine. She was at 105, going to 122. Do you think Lorraine stood by a mailbox and waited for a $600 check to land? No. Then we have Nisi. Nisi, I wish she was on the live chat and saw Gregory's ridiculous comment. She got $23,000 from third stimulus when it became a law in spring of 2021. Since then, she has gone back and gotten an average about $8,000 every 3 months thereafter. This year, she has gotten about 3 more rounds of $8,000 since January 1 of 2022. She's upwards of $50,000. She keeps on going back and getting more money. Where we are today is that on March 31st, let's bring up the graphic. On March 31st, the announcement came in on check A. On March 4th, the announcement came in on check B, and by early April, we had realized that check C was being obtained by viewers of this channel, a residue, a third stimulus. That is what's going to happen in the landscape of this economy, in the landscape of this society in the next 90 days. What's going to happen is the following. People are going to really feel the financial pressure in 90 days from now. And they're going to come to this channel. Traffic's going to be up. There's going to be more viewers on the channel. You're going to see no new faces. They're going to say, do you have a check for me? Yeah, I've had a check since March. Since March? Wait a second. Let me go get it. And ultimately, we don't know what's going to happen in October. Will there still be funds of money sitting around by October? We don't know. For you who are watching now on May 20th, 2022, you don't have to worry about October because you can get the funds of money right today. Remember, inflationary pressures are abound, and when you get these massive sums of money, as one viewer just days ago got $25,000, saved her home and also got $25,000. When you put that money in the bank and you give that financial independence to yourself right now, then you're set up better before the storm out to sea, the recessionary pressures or potentially more inflationary pressures, even higher, comes on land. That is why you prepare accordingly today and get these big checks. So step one, subscribe to this channel, then become a member, then get that newsletter Monday through Friday. Then go into the newsletter, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And remember, it says Friday, not on the weekend. So get a membership right today. And go in there and apply for that check A today. Apply for that check B today. Apply for that check C today and all weekend long. And with that, let me go over a preview of what's happening today on Afternoons LALATE, a brand new show at 3 o'clock, and what's happening on Evenings LALATE, a brand new show at 5 o'clock. We have a lot of strange statements that came in for financial analysts today, and boy, are they weird. Some analysts are saying, hey, it's just a blink in the stock market, it's going to rebound. Not going to happen. It's just a blink in the bond market, it's going to rebound. Not going to happen. Bitcoin and Ethereum, pushing under 30,000 and 2,000, it's going to come back. Not going to happen. Yeah, it'll come back a little bit, but not anything significant. And then this, Jim Cramer this last night saying Jay Powell should come in at 1% at a 1 point increase at that June FOMC meeting. Yeah, we've been talking about quarter basis point increase, half basis point. Jim Cramer saying Jay Powell should do 1 point increase, not half or quarter, a full 1 at the June FOMC. What is my opinion situation of that? My opinion is it makes sense if raising interest rates solves inflation. The only problem is interest rates, raising them does not solve inflation. Here's what you're going to get with Jay Powell. He's going to continue to raise those interest rates, as he said 2 days ago, until he gets inflation down, and he's not going to get it to work. The supply chain disruption, as we learned this today in this recording, is so hideously complex that you can't just look at the retail sales numbers and say, oh, that's what they are. You got to really look at the corporate earnings, Target, Walmart, Amazon, and then analyze why was the supply chain disruption hurting the consumer in the store. It's very complicated. The products were the wrong products. They came late. They came out of season. Then they had to discount them. Then they didn't sell. And then when the next products came, they had to raise those prices. It's just very complicated. Retail is supposed to be the easiest industry to analyze. And the easiest thing in these reports that is the scariest was when Walmart said, we have a lot of problems with supply chain disruption. And the number one problem is we have too many merchants in the store. We have too many employees in the store. Yeah. The worry that we're going to have increased unemployment situations hitting, higher interest rates hitting, inflationary worries potentially going even higher if these analysts are correct, that 8% is not the peak, that could be going higher. And then we have those recessionary concerns coming around the horizon. That's a lot to digest. And ultimately, all I can say is that if there is money on the table today, grab the money on the table today. as these projections are so daunting. And while it may seem like doom and gloom, if more people hear this doom and gloom in 30 days, 60 days out from now, when they're having problems paying for a $6 gallon gasoline at the pump or $5 gallon of milk at the supermarket, then what does this mean for then? What does this mean for October? It means a lot more people will be asking for stimulus and be looking for the money you see available today. That is why you can't wait. Go right into the membership newsletter right now. Go right into the top of the chat or under the description right now and become a member. It starts with the following steps. Step 1, subscribe right today. You got to watch every video on this channel throughout the day. There is literally, I was going to raise it up. I can't. It's too heavy. It's literally this thick. My stack of notes are this thick. There's too much news happening now per day, per video. So videos are not overlapping in content. They're very different and very fresh every video. And I don't have the ability to repeat something so critically important that may have been covered in a prior video. So first subscribe, then watch all the videos throughout the day, then hit that membership link under the video at the top of the video. Get that membership newsletter Monday through Friday. You hear the word Friday, there you go, not weekends. 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. You want to get that membership newsletter right away and get those applications in right away for check A, B, and C. And then also in that newsletter, of course, is the details about check D, which is in about 24 states. It is averaging about a $2,000 check. It is not in all states, but that is check D. It is also in the membership newsletter. And as new checks become a law, they are also added to the membership newsletter. Then throughout the day, you need to watch all the videos because there is so much going on. Our noontime show coming up at 11 o'clock right after this show, this video will automatically take you there, covers routing times of checks when you pounce and get them. The 1 o'clock afternoon show coming thereafter, then a brand new 3 o'clock today at afternoons, 5 o'clock in prime time, a major show tonight. We'll see what the impact is as we're likely to end, drum roll, the 8th consecutive week down for the stock market. Ouch. And then we'll go back over what we learned and didn't learn this week and why Jay Powell continues to say he's hitting harder and will continue to hit that inflation as hard as he can, meeting after meeting, month after month with the FOMC delegation. What does this mean for your money? What does it mean for your wallet? We'll have more about that tonight. But first, get these checks. They're in every U.S. state. It's cash on the table. The storm is out to sea. It's coming on land, and you can't wait to see it hit, because when it hits, it's going to be a lot worse than it is today. If you remember this channel, you open the membership newsletter nightly and you look at the first line, it features the price of gasoline. It was $4.14 just days ago in the nationwide average, then went to $4.20, then to $4.30. It was $4.45 last night in the membership newsletter. What could it be tonight? We'll have all that details and more as Evenings LA continues, but next up is noontime at 11 a.m. Stay here. This video will automatically take you there. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, and the coffee is brewing. Stay informed, stay focused. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for watching. And stay with LALATE as the news continues throughout the day. From the shores of Santa Monica, California to the shores of your home, get these checks and do not wait.